20 Treasures. Phil Astley from Aberdeen City and Aberdeenshire Archives talks about the Burgh Court Roll of 1317.
Well, the Borough Court Roll for Aberdeen dates from 1317, and it's the sole surviving example of a Borough Court Roll, and as I say, it dates from 1317, and it's a rather odd looking document. It's over 1.5 meters in length by about 20 centimeters wide, and it's made up from 5 parchment panels, and it documents the proceedings of the Bailey and the Head Courts in Aberdeen between August and October 1317. So in many ways it's a unique document in that the records that are subsequent to it that relate to the local government and local administration within Aberdeen, they commence in around about 1398, so a good 80 years later, but they're all volumes. So you could look at the Borough Court Roll for Aberdeen as a kind of old technology, if you like, where these great big long documents were produced in order to store the information about what was going on in the borough at the time. Now we know for sure that many more of these borough rolls existed at one point, because the town clerk in 1596, a chap by the name of Thomas Mollison, he spoke about a good quantity of these records being in existence, and he said that they were evil to be read, which in other words means that he had great difficulty in reading them, which is quite an interesting observation. We think from our modern day point of view that some of these older documents are quite difficult to read, but it is good to know that even in the late 16th century they were having problems with these old documents. But the document is unique in that it is the oldest surviving record of local administration in Scotland, so it has that kind of unique distinction, and that's really the reason why we nominated it for inclusion as one of the 20 treasures. The cases that are covered within the roll are from the Bailey and the Head Courts in 1317, and the first one relates to a young woman by the name of Ada, who she was establishing her right over a parcel of land on the Gallowgate in Aberdeen, which is a place that still exists and will be a place name that's familiar with many Aberdonians. So that's a nice kind of connection to modern day Aberdeen in itself. But Ada was a young woman, and it's also interesting that the case relates to such a person, because you tend to think of history at that time as being male dominated. So it's interesting that she is female and that she's young and she's asserting her right in this way. So the person who currently has a rival title to the land was the chap who was the Chamberlain to Robert the Bruce at the time. Now she's up against this quite influential man, so it's interesting that this kind of commoner in inverted commas is up against such a prominent individual, and that we've got the documentary evidence of that. Some of the other cases that appear in the roll relate to things like not only property but also inheritance as well. And there's also things to do with trade as well within the borough. So there's a whole range of material that's included in this one document, which makes it like the volumes that precede the roll in the later 14th century. An unrivaled insight into the medieval borough and the workings, the legal workings at the time.
For more information, visit www.scottisharchives.org.uk/treasures.